Hi, I'm Heidi with Spirit Speaks, and I am a medium. And I want to talk to you today because I wasn't always a medium, okay? And it was a huge, huge revelation for me when I found out that death was not the end, that our relatives live on. And it was huge for me, so I wanted to share that with you today. So, like I said, I wasn't always a medium. I'm not one of those people who, grew up psychic in a psychic household and, learned from their parents or whatever. Like, some people are very fortunate in that way, but I was not. I was a very normal person. I went to work every day, like 9 to 5, that kind of thing. And when we lost relatives, it was completely devastating to me, and it still is, but it's different now. It's different now because I know that they're not just gone forever and inaccessible and hope to meet them again one day soon, or soon, not soon, whatever. Hope to meet them again one day. I used to have the hope, okay, well, if I lost my granny, for instance, when my granny passed, it was heart-wrenching. We all loved my granny. My granny was like amazing. And so when my granny passed, everyone was devastated. Everyone was devastated, and I hoped at that time, and I hoped and I prayed that Granny got into heaven. And then I hoped and I prayed that one day when I pass, I'll get into heaven and maybe I'll see her again. And that was my hope as far as life and death and our relatives. And I am here today because I really want to share with you guys how limited and wrong I was when I believed that way. I mean, what a limited belief. Because yes, that is true. Okay, maybe not wrong, maybe that's not the right term, but so limited. Our relatives do not just disappear. They're not just gone. They don't just cease to exist. Never, only a memory forever. It's not that way. So I want to talk to you about how I learned that and how I know that and how you can maybe know that too. So, but the first thing is you have to believe it's possible. You have to believe that it might be possible. It might be possible that our relatives just they transition from this life and they transition into their new form, their other form, but they're still them. And we can still access them, we can still love them and talk to them and we get comfort from them. They're still with us. They're still with us. That's the message. So, let me talk about this. 1 second. All right. So, let me just say that the last funeral that I attended prior to becoming aware of this different knowledge was my Aunt Kelly's funeral. That was my mother's sister, and I loved her so much. Everyone loved her too, and so anyway, at her funeral, everyone was a mess and crying and upset, and I was too. And to be honest, at that time when my aunt passed, I really wasn't living my best life, and I almost felt as if I shouldn't even go to her funeral, that it may have, I didn't want her to think badly about me, but I went anyway because I loved her, and I just could not go, even if I wasn't quite proud of myself. So fast forward about 6 months from there. By that time, I had decided to be a better version of myself and to live a better life than I had been living. And I decided to go to church, and I got baptized, and I was very involved. And I loved the church. I don't attend anymore, COVID reasons or whatever. But so anyway, my first experience about 6 months after my aunt had passed, it's Mother's Day. And I'm at church with my children and with my mom, and also some other families there, like my Aunt Kelly, her grandchildren were there, a couple of her grandchildren were there. And so I'm very excited, I'm happy, and that's what I want to say. I was so happy I was at church with my family. Everybody was there. The high vibration of God that we were in that building. I was singing with the choir, along with the songs. And I was so happy. And my vibration was so high. And I was just in such a joyous mood because it was Mother's Day. And I had my mother and I had my children. And we were at church with God. And it was a beautiful time. And so when we were wrapping up at church, my Aunt Kelly, her granddaughter, I went to hug her and tell her goodbye, that we would see her next time. And she's a teenager, but my Aunt Kelly and her had a very, very strong bond, a very special connection when she was alive. And so when I went to hug my Aunt Kelly's granddaughter, I was hugging her and telling her I loved her, and then all of a sudden, at the same time, I felt someone shake me by my shoulders and scream in my ear, and it was my aunt's voice. Tell her grandma loves her. And I was like so startled and so scared. All I could do is put this teenager at arm's length and say, your grandmother loves you. Your grandma loves you. And she smiled and said, oh, I know. I love her too. And she hugged me again, and I hugged her, and I just let her go, and I just started crying because I heard my aunt's voice. I mean, she yelled at me. She saw her opening. My vibration was so high. I was connected with my family, with the church, with the place, with her granddaughter in love in that moment. And she saw her opening, and she spoke to me. Tell her grandma loves her. It was urgency. She spoke to me, and she shook me by my shoulders. It was very startling, actually. And so after I said, your grandma loves you, and she said, I know. She had no idea that I really literally meant, your grandma's here, and she wants me to tell you she loves you. So I didn't push the issue because she was a teenager, a kid. But anyway, and I didn't even know really what was going on. But I started to cry. My family thought I was just very moved by the service, right? But I started to cry because it was real. It was so real. It is real. Death is not the end. Our relatives live on. So let me tell you, we went back home and I told my mom what happened. I told my mom about the message, about Aunt Kelly, and I heard her voice, and she touched me, she shook me, she screamed at me, and I delivered the message to her granddaughter. Whether she knew it was a message or not, I delivered it. And then another message came through from my mother, that they're with her. My aunt is with her. All our relatives are with her. They're with me. They're with all of us. And even if that had not been enough, maybe I could think, you know what, I'm crazy. I'm crazy and I hear voices, and maybe I should go to the nut house or whatever, right? But when I began to read for other people, and other past loved ones are coming through with evidential messages to strangers, people that I have no knowledge of, how can I even dispute this? How can I dispute this? Death is not the end. We live on. We live on. Our personalities, our memories, the love that we have, we live on, and they are accessible to us. Talk to your loved ones in spirit. Talk to them out loud if you want, or talk to them deeply in your mind. You can talk to them in your mind all day long, anytime you want to. They can hear you. You have a bond with that person, a love bond that connects you from your heart to theirs. Even it reaches all the way to the other side. It reaches to the other side, and they can hear you. And they can come to you when you need their comfort. They can give you signs if you want signs to prove it, but you have to first believe it's even possible. Believe it's possible. Believe it's possible. And then allow them to be a presence in your life. Now, I just want to throw out there that a lot of times, if you are unable to connect with a relative on your own, you can go to a medium if you'd like to, but everybody can connect on their own if you just take the time to learn how. So if you're having trouble connecting to past loved one for whatever reason, okay, they want me to throw in there that sometimes it is just not the right time yet because maybe there's still some wounds that need to be healed. There's still some grief that needs to be worked through before that connection can be made again, and you can really hold the beauty of the information that's going to come through, or the emotions that will be passed through. You can really hold that information, because you still need to heal, okay? Maybe it's just there's some healing that needs done. And I can say this myself. My Aunt Kelly, I loved my Aunt Kelly so much. But her presence in life was much stronger, much more opinionated, much more stand up for things, right? Aunt Kelly was that way, and she came through like that in my mediumship, and I didn't even know what it was, and she was in there. She made it happen. Now my granny, like I mentioned, I love my granny. I miss my granny. My granny was a very gentle person, very gentle soul, right? And the first thing when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm a medium, I can do this, I want to talk to granny. It didn't happen just like that. No matter how much I wanted it to happen just like that, it took time and it took work, because I was still grieving her loss. And even though I know now it's not a loss, it's just a temporary separation until we're reunited again, right? And it'll seem like a blink of an eye once we're there. So I know she's with me. She's always with me, and I've talked to her, I've connected with her, I've pulled cards from her, all things, but in the beginning, I had a much more difficult time myself connecting with my granny, because I still grieved her loss. My heart was still hurting for her in a very powerful way. So I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I really, really hope that you take that with you and just believe that maybe death is not the end. Share this information with people that you might think might be interested in this, because we need to talk about it. Like this video if you like it, okay? Subscribe if you want some more videos. I'm going to be putting out different content. But I want to say this. Comment if you've had mediumistic experiences. I would love to hear how the spirit world interacts with you. And I think the world needs to hear that as well. We all need to spread the message, that death is not the end. Death is not the end. We need to spread that message. So please, let me know how this video resonated with you, and thank you so much for clicking on it and liking my channel here. Blessings. Thank you for allowing Spirit to speak to you.